They spit your name like it's poison. Their smiles sharp as hidden blades, their mockery a jab at your silence, mistaking it for fragility. They want you to crack, to rage, to prove they still linger in your mind, pulling strings you swore you'd cut. But you've learned a sharper truth, a deeper cut. You don't need to swing back to wound them. You don't need to match their venom with your own. To truly dismantle those who hate you, you rise, untouchable, unshaken, unreachable. The game of revenge is a trap for the weak, a cycle that keeps you tethered to their chaos. Instead, you let them swing at shadows. Let their own bitterness chew them hollow. On WisdomWavesAura, we don't chase petty victories or fleeting applause. We build something stronger, something they can't touch. Here's how you break your haters without lifting a finger, how you turn their poison into your power, and how you leave them grasping at the wind. First, you stay unshaken when they try to rattle you. Their words are darts, their insults bait, their every move a plea for your reaction. They thrive on your anger because it proves they matter. It's the fuel for their fragile egos, the confirmation they're still relevant in your world. Deny them that and you've already won half the battle. When you refuse to flinch, their power fizzles out like a damp firecracker. The ancient philosopher Epictetus cut to the bone of it. It's not their taunts or strikes that wound you, but the weight you give them. You choose what stings. You decide what sticks. On WisdomWavesAura, we talk about this kind of mental steel, staying cold as marble when they spit fire. Ignoring them isn't passivity, it's a calculated strike. It's letting their words dissolve into smoke against the stone of your resolve. When they see their venom can't touch you, when they realize you're beyond their reach, that's when the real damage lands. Their frustration festers, their relevance fades, and they're left shouting into a void you've already left behind. Nothing wounds a hateful soul more than being ignored by someone they can't disturb. You don't need to raise your voice or your fist, just your standards. Next, you build a life so disciplined, so radiant, it shames their weakness. Haters lurk in the shadows, praying for your collapse, scrolling through your progress on WisdomWavesAura, hoping to catch a stumble. But every morning you rise with purpose. Every day you sharpen your mind, your body, your soul. Every night you hold yourself to a standard they've never even glimpsed. Your existence becomes a mirror they can't bear to face, reflecting their own shortcomings in brutal clarity. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, put it with surgical precision: the best revenge is to be unlike those who tried to harm you. You don't build to spite them. You build because it's who you are. You train, you create, you grow. Not to rub it in their faces, but because your life is yours to sculpt. On WisdomWavesAura, we dive deep into this discipline, sharing how to forge habits rooted in strength, not spite. Your peace, your focus, your relentless consistency, it's a silent rebuke to their chaos. They wanted you to falter, but instead, you're climbing peaks they can't even see. The higher you go, the smaller they become. Their hate doesn't drive you. It's just noise drowned out by the rhythm of your progress. And when they realize you're too far above to notice them, that you never saw them as obstacles, only stepping stones, that's when their failure stings deepest. Your success isn't a weapon, it's a wound they inflict on themselves. Then, you outlive their hate. Time is the great judge, the unrelenting arbiter that sorts the fleeting from the enduring. Those who hate you burn bright but brief, consumed by their own fire. They're sprinters exhausting themselves in bursts of spite. You, though, you're built for the long haul. You live with intention, not reaction. Every breath is a choice, every moment a test you pass with quiet resolve. Seneca, the Stoic sage, warned that healing a wrong is better than avenging it. Vengeance pulls you off your path, ties you to their pettiness. On WisdomWavesAura, we explore how to stay on course, how to let time do the heavy lifting. Years pass and they're still gnawing on old grudges, stuck in the same bitter loop, while you're building, growing, leading. You don't just survive their hate, you outgrow it. You become someone they can't recognize, someone their small minds can't grasp. And that's the deepest cut. Not that you fought back, but that you didn't need to. Your life, your progress, your unshakable calm, It's a verdict they can't appeal. They wanted to drag you down, but you kept climbing, and now they're just a speck in your rear view. You didn't waste a drop of energy on retaliation, yet you've won in ways they'll never understand. That's the power of endurance, the art of outlasting, and we break it down on Wisdom Waves Aura for anyone ready to rise above. Finally, you forgive them, publicly, fiercely, and with a sincerity that cuts like a blade. This isn't the soft forgiveness of surrender. It's the cruelest mercy you can offer. When you forgive, you expose their pettiness to the world. You stand tall and declare, "You don't have the power to make me hate. You're not that important." It's a statement of strength, a proclamation that their attempts to wound you have already been buried in the person you've become. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, said it's not enough to avoid harming others. You must also refuse to wish them harm. This is the razor's edge, the discipline that sets you apart. On Wisdom Waves Aura, we unpack how forgiveness, when it comes from power, not weakness, is a weapon they can't counter. It strips them of their last hold over you, their ability to bait you with guilt or drag you into their hatred. When you forgive, you free yourself from their poison, but you also force them to face their own. The world sees it. They see a person who chooses grace over grudges, composure over chaos, and they wonder how you walk through fire and still bless the hands that lit it. Your forgiveness says, "I'm no longer at war." And that peace, that unshakable peace, becomes a punishment they never saw coming. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about cutting the final thread that ties you to their drama. You're liberated, while they're left grappling with the irrelevance you've handed them. This is the path we walk on Wisdom Waves Aura, a path not of petty vengeance, but of relentless ascent. You don't need to fight their battles or play their games. You don't need to match their noise with your own. Every step you take upward, every moment you refuse to be shaken, every day you outlast their bitterness, every time you forgive with strength, you're dismantling their hold over you. You're not just winning, you're rewriting the rules of victory. They wanted you broken, but you're building. They wanted you angry, but you're at peace. They wanted to live rent-free in your mind, but you've evicted them with a calm they can't comprehend. Let's dig deeper into why this works. Haters thrive on attention, on the idea that they're significant enough to disrupt your world. When you refuse to give them that, you're not just ignoring them, you're erasing their influence. It's psychological warfare without firing a shot. On Wisdom Waves Aura, we explore the Stoic principles behind this, drawing from thinkers like Epictetus, who taught that external events can't harm you unless you let them. Your mind is your fortress, and you decide who gets in. By staying unshaken, you're not just protecting yourself, you're actively undermining their power. They're left swinging at a target that doesn't exist, and that futility is their undoing. Discipline, too, is more than self-improvement. It's a statement. When you commit to your growth, when you show up every day to sharpen your edge, you're not just bettering yourself, you're exposing their stagnation. On Wisdom Waves Aura, we share practical steps to build this kind of life. Morning routines, mental frameworks, habits that turn you into a force. It's not about flaunting your success, it's about living so fully that their smallness becomes undeniable. They can't hate you without noticing how far you've climbed, and that contrast is a wound they can't heal. Outlasting hate is about perspective. Haters are short-sighted, consumed by the moment. You, though, play the long game. On Wisdom Waves Aura, we talk about how to align your life with purpose, how to make every choice a brick in a legacy that outlives their noise. Time doesn't just heal, it reveals. It shows who's fleeting and who's eternal. By focusing on your path, you let their hate burn out while you keep building. And forgiveness? It's the ultimate power move. It's not about them, it's about you. On Wisdom Waves Aura, we dive into how forgiveness rewires your mind, freeing you from the weight of their actions. It's a declaration of sovereignty, a refusal to let their darkness dim your light. When you forgive, you don't just let go, you rise above, untouchable. This is the Wisdom Waves Aura way, not fighting fire with fire, but with clarity, discipline, endurance, and grace. You don't need to strike back to win. You don't need their approval or their defeat. You rise, you forgive, you outlast, and you let their own hate consume them. They'll fade into the background, irrelevant, while you keep climbing toward a life they can't even imagine. Subscribe to Wisdom Waves Aura, and let's build that life together. One that makes their hate nothing more than a whisper against your strength.